Fake dance.
Oh, I assume this is where I go. Here we go.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, here we go. Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're off.
Hey, guys. Welcome to episode 165 of CMD Towers, Brews and Builds. I'm MrComboNumber5, and my fellow host should really make sure that he doesn't spill stuff on my magic cards, BigTuck.
It only landed. Hey, how's it going, cats and kittens? I luckily only landed on my work laptop. So,
Luckily.
yeah, exactly. This thing needs a thorough cleaning. Anyways, also, for a little bit of celebration here for everyone at home, got it in there.
Got it.
We got there. I'm pretty excited about this. So, you cannot get Midwest beers in North Carolina.
Okay.
Because their distribution model is all screwed up. So you can get mostly local stuff, right? So this is a brewery out of Chicago called Tight Head, which is a rugby position, if you will.
Oh, I thought it was maybe, code for something else.
Something else, one of my other extracurriculars. And what's cool about it, it's really good. And they sponsor my friend's former teammate from Chicago. They sponsor his rugby team, and that's like our logo. It's like the Charlotte Royals. That's our logo, the pride. So
sorry, when you said our, I was like, that's not our logo. Ours is a rook from chess.
Yeah, we can't talk about ours. But I'm well. I'm good to be here IRL with you. These are always a little more meaningful. How are you?
Well,
you're having to work.
I'm having to work,
which is insane.
Yeah. Well, it works out though to where normally I usually just get 2 weeks off. I work in a little bit.
Right, yeah.
But now, I just kind of told my boss, I was like, hey, next week is our company shutdown, but we still have an inside team working, in case orders and people need stuff.
There's someone on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I just effectively told them, look, I'm not taking any real days off other than next Monday and the following Monday, because those are just everyone's off.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's working the day after Christmas, the day after New Year's. So this week and then the 4 days next week, I'm going to come in for about an hour or two in the morning, about an hour in the afternoon, and then I'll check stuff at an hour at the end of the day.
As needed, right?
So, today was one of the days that, I started work at 6 a.m.
You had a presentation, real work.
I had to do a real presentation with the school district. It was super, super cool. Enjoyed doing that. But yeah, no, I'm excited to hang out with you, having some hard kombucha, which I didn't think was a real thing. It's all right.
What do you like it with specific? Does it have specific flavors or what?
Well, grapefruit.
Grapefruit. Okay.
I don't think there's flavors of kombucha.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like ass, boogers.
It's all like
it just kind of tastes like a sparkling.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. There's one, if you like them sweet, there's one that's like blueberry lemon that I've had before. Ooh. Do you know what kombucha looks like when it's being brewed? Because it's brewed and fermented.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
No, because it has this like alien life form in it called the Scooby.
The Scooby.
Call it all Scoobies.
Oh man,
have you seen this before?
I have never seen a Scooby. Are you sure you're not talking Scooby Doo?
No, we are not. But it looks like I said, it looks like a face hugger. So this is what it is, right?
Wow.
So when it's being brewed, this is for only IRL, I suppose. You can see this is like the fermented cake.
Sure.
So this is like a living thing that then makes it taste like that.
Like then you stab it and you hear it.
It's a telepathic thing. For those nerds out there, it's an aboleth.
Ooh,
which
what that is.
In Dungeons and Dragons is a underwater creature that's telekinetic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's one of those things. It's floating in the water. It looks good. So,
or as my household says, interessante. Interesting.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
Yeah, I've actually noticed. It's weird. I've my wife's Mexican. English is her first language, but I mean, she grew up in a household.
Did she speak Spanish? Did she speak Spanish
Yeah,
like
she
fluently?
Speaks fluent
Spanish. Oh, wow.
And she's always uncomfortable with it. She is really good. She doesn't know slang that well, just because she doesn't speak it like daily, like cultural wise. But I remember when she was trying to get like a real adult job, I was like, put that on your resume.
Absolutely.
I was like, you will just get the job. Female, minority. They're looking to make a more diverse workplace, but you actually have a skill.
Right.
You can speak Spanish, which is like the second most commonly spoken language in this country.
So Nathan Lane, who I was just visiting in Argentina, he has the same thing. Like he was like, I don't know, should I do it? And
1000%.
That's what I said. It's like you should. And if it's me, like he's kind of struggling because he's going through a career switch as well. Like he and Scooty Shuffles are kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
But they are like
jazz trombone musicians.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Also slash like Hispanic rappers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he was like, I told him you should just look for Spanish speaking jobs, period.
Yep.
Right. In the IT workforce, like
Oh my gosh.
design,
Absolutely.
it's huge. So, anyways, I haven't talked to him for a minute, but congrats to Argentina for winning the World Cup. There you go.
Could you imagine if you had been there when they won the World Cup?
Actually, I'm kind of glad I'm not, because he sent me some stuff. It looks like
just
madness.
violence?
Yes, it literally just looks like complete madness.
Did you actually watch that game?
No, I didn't.
So my wife and I, it was Sunday morning. Chiefs game started at noon Central Time. The World Cup started at 9 a.m.
Sure.
I did not start the beginning. We tuned in the most perfect time possible.
Right.
It was the last 20 minutes of regulation, so about the 70-minute mark. Within 10 minutes, Mbappe, the French player, did the penalty kick. 1 minute later, scored another goal, tied up the World Cup.
Yeah.
Then Messi almost won the game in the last 30 seconds to not go to overtime.
Right.
Then you went to overtime, same type of shit. Penalty kicks, penalties in the box, tied at 3-3, then went into the kickoff, and Argentina just whooped ass.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just like, we tuned in, and I was kind of getting into it a little bit because they were doing shots on the goal.
Sure, right.
And I was like, hey, babe, are you having fun in this goal? She's like, this is kind of boring. Tuck, by the time we got to overtime, she was screaming.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh!
Cool. So this is some of the stuff that he sent me from Argentina. This is just on the street. People doing that.
Oh my
And
gosh!
the one that's funny. This is the funniest one. Or wait, hold on. Let me find this real quick. So these guys got out in public and stopped this bus because it's 10. This is like a bus driver that's just like taking people to work. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's madness. So
people are madness.
I'm kind of glad I'm not down there, to be honest, because I don't need to go through another sports riot after, like in Chicago when the Cubs won, the whole city shut down. When I was just walking to work, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I would have had. I've always wanted to go to a country like that's either hosting the World Cup, hosting the Olympics, or be in a country that like for a World Cup where they like win it all.
Right.
Because like I don't feel like the U.S. were just so spread out.
Yeah.
Like if the United States had won the World Cup, Kansas City would have gone insane because I mean they were showing us on ESPN and all that stuff.
Are they hosting?
We're hosting the World Cup next year, or like some of the games. I don't think like the final.
Oh, okay.
But,
cool.
but we're hosting like the preliminary rounds.
Right.
We might host one of like the rounds of 16. I don't
Okay.
know. But it's like if we won, Kansas City would have gone crazy. But like no one in Wichita cares, and no one in Chicago probably cares, or Miami.
Chicago's got a big soccer following,
but not like if that happens. Chicago, parade. But if the Blackhawks win, I guarantee the Blackhawks have way bigger crowds.
Correct.
Versus like Argentina, they win the World Cup. That's the biggest thing their country has.
They're like, I was talking with people down there, and they're like, the year from a business perspective, like, might as well be over.
Yep.
Like, it's just going to be a holiday between now and 2023. So
that's awesome.
They're enjoying it, man. Why not?
Well, you guys aren't here to hear about the World Cup. You're here to hear about Brews and Builds. And it's our deck tech series. Since we have conquered that path to 32, tackled tons of EDH themes we're going to be discussing, or rather, theory crafting. Also, I realized I kind of do a Kevin Smith thing where I go with like my hands a little bit, and I'm leaning back, and then I go forward.
Kevin Smith?
Yeah. That guy.
He does that?
Yeah.
Oh.
He always kind of talks and like...
Also, am I supposed to be doing this on stream?
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
Or rather, theory crafting a deck that doesn't exist yet in each month. Well, this month's a little bit different. Will consist of new decks with new movie themes. And we correlate how these decks are constructed, similar to how beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 different categories. The first one's rampant setting your board state. We call that grains.
And grains are the foundation of a beer, and you can notice I'm reading straight from my notes. They include both base malts and specialty malts using a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, the taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of a beer. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp into bigger threats. Just like a grain profiler, they usually mix of staples and specialty cards.
How does your board interact with all of your opponents? We call that hops.
And hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors, which this one has Jamaican... nope. Damn it. I walked right into that. Chinook, Columbus, and Centennial hops. It's actually quite good. They grow in a variety of strands, helps distinguish subcategories like IPAs. Our hop choices help clear and interact with the board so your deck can do what it wants.
And then how does your deck close out and win games? We call that yeast.
And yeast are microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds alcohol content in the carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. Without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then the final is the spice of it all. I gave it away. Shit. Spice.
Spice of it all. The Department of Redundancy Department. Not every beer has them, but spices and additives help separate normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the pepper that turns a stout into a jalapeno stout, or the addition of hops that turn IPA into a double IPA. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, this is where we generally talk about it.
Without further ado, let's get brewing. Today we are continuing our December tradition of picking a holiday movie and a legendary creature. So, Tuck, you chose Mishra, played by Gix, and I chose to pair that with Nightmare Before Christmas,
which was a slam dunk choice, by the way.
You.
Had a lot of good options for that.
So why don't you read Mishra, and then I'll talk about why I picked Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure. So Mishra, claimed by Gix, is brand new, hot off the presses from the Brothers War. Which again, I'm still seeing cards that are printed from that.
And you're like, I didn't even know it was.
It's insanity. So he's a 2 colorless and Rakdos, of course, 3/5 legendary creature, Phyrexian human artificer. That's a mythic for $26. It's up there, which is a bummer because I want about 10. I want about 10 of these. So whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra, claimed by Gix, and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking you, and you own both and control them, but you both own and control them. Well,
they have to do that in case you stole someone else's.
Oh, got it. Exile them because we're going into the four-way
4D chess here.
Exile them, then meld them into Mishra, locks to Phyrexia. It enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. I should go ahead and read the other ones, right?
Yeah, why not? And also, Spencer, shout out, hanging out with us in the middle of a Tuesday.
Appreciate you. So the Phyrexian Dragon Engine is 3 colorless for an artifact creature, Phyrexian Dragon. That's a 2/2 with double strike. It's a rare. When it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards, unearth for 3 colorless and double red. Okay. Finally, when they meld, Mishra, lost to Phyrexia, is a legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Artificer. That's a 9/9. 9/9. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, choose 3. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Mishra deals 3 damage to any target.
That's a lot.
Destroy target artifact or planeswalker. Creatures you control gain menace and trample until end of turns. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 until end of turn. And then lastly, the weakest, I think, create 2 tap Power Stone tokens.
Yeah, well, you know what? Also, complaint about the card. It's 9. You couldn't give us 9 abilities to pick
come on.
from.
We still got so much text box.
It's
an entire card of text box on the back of the Dragon Engine, I think.
So the reason I went with Mishra, Phyrexian Dragon Engine, and then lost to Phyrexia for our theme around Nightmare Before Christmas is mainly because Mishra is Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that he's being a bad guy. He's like, hey, just getting a taste.
Right. Just a couple of points here and there. What's the difference?
The Phyrexian Dragon Engine doesn't really do a ton.
No.
And that's kind of like the Ghost Dog in Nightmare Before Christmas. And you know what? Eventually they culminate into being Santa Claus and Rudolph, which is Mishra lost to Phyrexia.
Actual claws.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, when I attack, nothing bad's going to happen. It's like, hey, my buddy, your artifact or planeswalker's hurting the rest of the table. Let me get rid of that. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1. Hey, token player, calm down a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm helping. The biggest group hug card of all time.
I'm helping everyone. I mean, I'm absolutely helping everyone.
The weird thing is that this is Rakdos' weird manipulated mind of thinking like, oh yeah, this is group hug.
Right, absolutely. I agree. And it worked out perfectly because I think that I think this card's really great because I'm a Rakdos player, right? Sure. But I feel like there's a couple different ways you can build this. And the one that I think is the more boring is like, all I'm doing is playing 1-drops and evasion crap. It's kind of like an Edric sort of build, right? Sure. And I like this idea of more like group slug, right? Like, but like in kind of a good way, kind of a bad way, you know? Yeah. So it worked out really well. Also, we talked about this off cast maybe. It still baffles me that people think that Nightmare Before Christmas is not a Christmas movie. It absolutely, it's in the title, right? 5 minutes of the movie is Halloween. Yes, everything else is Christmas. It's baffling to me. So it was a great pick. Also, if Santa Claus is in a movie, it's an effing Christmas movie. It's got to be a Christmas movie, right? What movie is Santa Claus in that's not a Christmas movie? This is the only one that might be the case. I haven't seen it in a long time. Bad Santa? No, that's absolutely a Christmas movie. I've actually never seen it. What? Yeah. Oh, okay, maybe we might scrap Disney Plus. I don't know. I'm actually into this Wakanda Forever. I'm into it. So there's a chance in the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson vehicle called the Tooth Fairy. Oh my gosh! I might be off here, right?
Okay.
Maybe on my meds. There might be a scene where he meets the rest of the mythological characters, and Santa might be in it.
Ooh,
But I'm
and
also
you know what?
I'm also confusing potentially that with the Santa Claus 2, because there's a scene where it's the reverse, where Santa Claus meets the Tooth Fairy and a bunch of
Okay.
other people.
Well,
Mother Nature.
now that you bring that up, I think there was an animated movie where it was like the Easter Bunny and all of them. And I think
yes.
Santa might have been a
Right.
part of that. And that's not a Christmas movie. That was just dumb. shitty
It was
movie.
just dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of why I picked it.
Yeah.
I find this very interesting, especially because we're always gonna have access to Mishra.
Yes, right.
But the Dragon Engine, we got to get it out of the 99.
We gotta go get it.
Like, I like that puzzle
yeah.
of trying to figure out
Absolutely.
how do we either get it to hand or to our graveyard as soon as possible.
Right.
I don't feel like this deck truly does what you want until you get the Lost of Phyrexia side, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I think that's like where you want it to go. I like the fact that like it's not partners or anything, so it's gonna make you work for it. But I do think that of most of the meld cards, this one seems probably the easiest or one of the easier ones to pull off.
I think it's the easiest one to pull off, but it's also the most fair of all of them.
Yes. Agreed.
So because you do have to discard your hand when you get it
Yep.
from the graveyard with the meld with the unearth
Unearthed,
mechanic.
right.
You know, the other ones like the two angels, like the angel literally grabs an angel from your graveyard and puts it to the battlefield, and then bam, we're melded.
We're done. Yep.
So I do think this is probably the most fair one, even though it might seem like it's probably easier to pull off.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a weird dynamic.
I think it's great though. So I'm really excited. Now, my last question before we get in this is, how closely have you correlated this to the movie?
I tried to make all of my picks, and I will say this: my picks might be kind of boring because a lot of it is tied to the movie, but they're also just a lot of good Rakdos cards.
Sure. Yeah.
I tried to find some things that were kind of interesting for the deck, but also, you know, could kind of be a little bit of fun.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll just kind of have to see how it turns out.
So every single one of mine is directly tied into the movie by either
Perfect.
a character,
Okay.
an idea,
Okay.
or an event.
Perfect.
So
And I want to say almost all of mine are that exact same
excellent.
as well.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Well, before we get into this deck, we're just going to do a little short break. And we're back. So, before we fully get into the deck, of course, we would love for you guys to check out our amazing Patreon community, patreon.com/CMDTower. Lots of tiers. Don't want to waste more of the airtime on it, but anything you guys could do from $3 all the way up, get you access into the Discord, get you opportunities to be on Slinging Cardboard Rectangles, Brews and Builds, even to be able to get merch. We ship out for particular tiers depending on which one you signed up. So if you can do anything this holiday season, you haven't spent all your money on those bastard family members of yours or your terrible frenemy Dans of the playgroup, just remember patreon.com/CMDTower. Now we're going to get into the ramp and grain section. I will go first just because mine are literally on the screen and you can see them.
I can see them. Luckily, we haven't matched yet. So
Yeah, there we go. So the first one I picked was kind of based off the Oogie Boogie Man because the Oogie Boogie does have a wheel that gets spun. Yes, we are
okay,
talking
I got it.
Wheel of Fortune, which you know what? Maybe I should have gone Wheel of Misfortune.
I was wondering about that. I think that one might be a little more on theme.
That's a little bit more on theme. We'll do a mid pivot for you guys.
Yes, love it.
So Wheel of Misfortune, 2 colorless red, sorcery. You can get it for a little under $3. Each player secretly chooses a number 0 or greater. Then all players reveal those numbers simultaneously and determine the highest and lowest numbers revealed this way. Wheel of Misfortune deals damage equal to the highest number to each player who chose that number. Each player who didn't choose the lowest number discards their hand and draws 7 cards. It's so confusing, but I think we got it down easy.
Yes.
As long as you're not the lowest number, you will wheel and draw 7. Whoever chose the highest number takes the damage.
Correct. Yes.
That's just
That's the easiest way to do it.
Yep.
No further questions. I love it. It's a slam dunk.
I mean, it's I feel like for this deck, I did see a trend with Mishra, and the Phyrexian, well, specifically the Doggo,
Sure.
discarding your hand, drawing 3. So it's like, I think there's going to be this kind of wheel-esque where for me, I think a theme of the deck is churn and burn.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get through as many cards as possible to get to my artifact Phyrexian Dragon Engine. So that way, then I can get the combo or the combination, the meld, and actually be able to progress forward.
Absolutely, yeah, slam dunk. This is a deck that there's a decent chance I'm probably going to end up building because I think it's awesome. So I'm glad that you're saving me about $400.
Yeah, give or
change. Yeah. But I love Wheel of Misfortune. I think that's like dead on. Even Wheel of Fortune, right? Like, yeah. I think we'll get into why red particularly is good at this effect too.
Yes.
So I'm here for it.
All right. Well, what's yours?
All right. So this actually plays perfectly into this. Okay. Don't look over here. I saw you look at.
It gives me an opportunity to type.
I will type. I got the. Oh, I see. You got to type it up here. Okay. Well, anyway, spoiler alert. This does deal with drawing, right? And we're gonna do our wheel effect. So I thought that one of the things that was really potent, if you will, about the Night Before Christmas is like Jack's idea of what Christmas is.
Okay.
It's not necessarily just about presents, right?
Sure.
That don't work. It's more about
that don't work.
So perhaps he was having some spiteful visions towards Christmas and Halloween. So 2 colorless, Rakdos Hybrid, for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever a player draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player. So I thought this was like a fun one because we're refilling our hands, right? We're going to be gaining the life back on the attacks. So
that's fair.
We're not going to hit, it's not going to hurt us as much. Like you said, with the wheeling and dealing that's going on here, this is a card that's really going to, it's kind of like almost, depending on how you build it, is maybe more of a hops or a yeast.
Yeah.
But I love this sort of effect of filling up our hand. We're filling it up and everyone's slugging for it, right?
He kind of looks like the Skeleton King or the Pumpkin King, sorry.
Absolutely.
Over here. So, I think artwork's on theme. I think this is exactly something Jack would do.
Yes, right.
Where it's like, I'm giving you resources.
Yeah, don't you understand?
Like, but don't you understand? Every time you do, you cut off like part of my finger. And it's like, but I'm giving you things.
Right, aren't you happy? Aren't you happy with these gifts I'm giving you?
Oh, yeah, I think that's absolutely perfect.
Nailed it.
All right, so my next one is a, like I said, squad. Mine are a little boring, but they all fit the movie.
Sure.
So I really feel like Sheoldred Whispering One,
the old school,
really fits both sides.
Right.
So first one, 5 colorless, black, legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. You can get the cheapest copy now for a little under $12. Swamp Walk can't be blocked as long as the defending player controls swamps. Super relevant.
Yep.
It's a 6/6. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacks a creature. So for me, this is the professor from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay,
the one that's kind of like working on all the different zombies.
Right.
Taking the different dead body parts.
Right.
So it kind of fits the movie that way. But then I think it fits this deck because we're going to be discarding so many cards and so many resources. And you cannot build this deck, in my opinion, as a Voltron deck.
No way.
You have to be able to take advantage of Mishra's effect, where it's the number of attacking creatures, because who knows if you'll even see that artifact at some point in the game. So as you're going to be wheeling and dealing and discarding, you need ways to get those creatures back. And I get it. Sheoldred, that's just kind of like what it does, but I do think it's kind of a linchpin to have as many reanimation effects in this deck for as you start discarding away all your resources.
So just to like reiterate on the Mishra himself, it just says whenever you attack. So if you don't have the Dragon Engine out, you don't have to attack with them to get the ability.
But you're gonna attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm gonna swing in with them every time, right? 100%. So I like that. Is this card? Do you think we're gonna be running Urborg in this deck? Probably, right?
Yeah, we might get to that later.
Oh well, I don't want to ruin anything. Yeah. I think Sheoldred's great. Do you think Sheoldred? Remember when we first started playing, Sheoldred was like one of the boogeymen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's not quite.
It's still a boogeyman, though.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's still very good.
Think about it. Have you ever landed a Sheoldred in the last year where people are like, that's fine?
No. It's still an impact. It's still, as we call, an impact player.
All right. Well, what is your next card?
Okay, so this is another card I'm going to be playing in a lot of decks. So we're gonna be giving out some stuff, right?
Okay.
And Timmy or Johnny or Spike is gonna come down one day and they're gonna open up a present and they're gonna be really excited about it, right?
Okay.
We got presents. It's Christmas.
Sure, it's Christmas.
I can't wait to use it, but it's gonna be a box of shrunken heads. And with that, we're playing. I just fat fingered to Wordle that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so that's why we're gonna be playing one of my new favorites, Descent into Avernus.
Okay.
So 2 colorless and a red for an enchantment. This is like the 3rd week in a row I think I've talked about this. I'm a white hot on this card. For an enchantment for about $1. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on Descent into Avernus. Then each player creates X treasure tokens, and it deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of descent counters on Descent to Avernus. So again, we're going to be playing some big Haymaker cards in this, at least, right?
Sure.
I have a feeling that's going to happen. And sure, I'm giving you a gift. I'm taking a little bit away from you. And again, I'm going to make it up in the aggregate, if you will, from Moneyball, one of my new favorite sayings. And when I'm gaining life back from Gix attacking. So this is going to power you right into your big Haymakers like Shieldred and those other things, while giving out just a little taste.
It fits the movie perfectly. I'm still not that hot on this
You still
card
don't love it?
because it could get to the point where you're giving the blue players the literal counter magic when you start your turn.
After what, 3 cycles of this, you're just giving them that plus Rift.
Yeah. It's like,
they play the
and
land.
you got to think about it. Just one cycle, they get counterspell.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean, I guess it still kind of fits. I'm giving you counterspell.
You're giving it away. So but again, like some Shrunken Heads, I'm big on this card. You're gonna be seeing it a lot in 2023. I feel there's 3 decks already got it in.
Well, my next one, and I did do 4 because I got a bonus one for the grain section. But this next one is one that I thought that another Jack type of thing, where it's like, hey, I'm doing all the. I mean, yes, they're gifts for me, but I'm trying to help celebrate. I'm trying to bring a lot more fun in. But then when I don't use them, yeah, you might take some damage. So Valakut Exploration, I thought would be really, really cool in this deck, because also it's going to help us churn through the deck.
Right.
And even if we can't cast our Phyrexian Dragon Engine, it just goes to the graveyard.
Absolutely.
So Valakut Exploration, 2 colorless red, it's $1. Enchantment with Landfall. Whenever land ETBs exile the top card of your library, you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. So it's nice. With the play effect, it lets you get your lands. But then, at the beginning of your end step, if there's cards exile of Valakut Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard, then Valakut Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. So it's very much of a fits what Mishra wants, which is just getting through the deck as quick as possible. But then it so fits a Jack Skellington thing where he just didn't even mean for everyone to take 12 because 2 things went in there. That
he didn't mean to have Santa's sleigh destroyed by a heavy artillery fire.
Correct.
He's over it. And also, I think this goes one further, right? Because we've only seen the Nightmare Before Christmas. We haven't seen the Nightmare Before Easter. We haven't seen the Nightmare Before St. Patrick's Day, the 4th of July. None of those, right? So
that's true.
New Year's Eve. So I like this because he is exploring, right? Jack's just got a taste of the Christmas town.
Well, technically, I mean, he went and saw the Easter egg entry. He saw, I think it was Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
There's 7 in total. So there's those 3. I just listened to a podcast about a 2.5 hour long podcast about Christmas. That was excellent. So there's those 3.
Okay.
St. Patty's Day.
Okay.
New Year's Eve.
How do you have a New Year's Eve one? I do not remember a New Year's Eve one.
It's like one in the corner.
Okay.
And then Hanukkah.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
And I think there's one that's either a birthday, or maybe 4th of July.
I think it's birthday. I think it's a birthday cake.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. It's a birthday candle. Yeah. So there you go. Right?
Wow. Okay. There we go. There's layers.
I love it.
All these layers.
Love it. Slam dunk.
All right. What is your next and potentially last grade?
This is my last one. So one of the things I always hated about Night Before Christmas, and this is probably just more of a me problem in general, is I hated those little bastard children.
Well, wait, which ones?
I think they're called
the ones that get the toys that are all terrified.
No, the ones in.
They're calling all the children of the world being bastards.
No. The ones in Halloween Town. Yes. I think they're called like Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Yes.
Right. So I represent these as a card. This is the one that I probably stretching it a little bit.
How did they not do 2 barrels? So it could be Lock, Stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
So meta.
Too meta for Danny Elfman at all. So I'm going with this little traption, Goblin Engineer.
Okay.
So colorless and a red for a creature Goblin Artificer that's a 1/2. When it ETBs, you may search a library for an artifact card, put it in your graveyard, then shuffle. And then for a red and tap, sack an artifact, return target artifact card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So now we're tutoring for our dragon boy, right? We don't even have to unearth him right away, right? And then now we can just sacrifice one of the artifacts from Descent of Avernus, bring him right back out, and we're off to the races.
Ooh.
Because what happened? Okay, so the only thing I have a question with, and this is about $5 to $8. So when the meld creature dies, because it's gonna die at some point, what do you separate it and put one in your graveyard and one in your command zone?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So now we don't have to go searching again. We don't have to worry about the unearthed rigmarole and only doing it once. We have a way to find our. We have a way to find our pooch. Spot, I believe his name. No, Zero.
Yeah,
Zero. Right. Yeah. So we have a way to find Zero, and then also keep him riding along the sleigh with us.
So I really like that because one of the things that actually I tried to do, I tried to break the card. I was like, maybe because the Phyrexian Dragon Engine's not legendary.
Oh, right.
And I was like, what if we make a bunch of copies of it? And then you just do it to the copies, but they literally have in the rules text that you can't meld with a token copy.
Oh, really?
Because they exile then come back. The token gets exiled away.
Okay, got it.
So, no, I like this. It gives, I think Unearth is 3 colorless red. Memory serves correct.
For the Unearthed, yes.
Yeah. So being able to only pay 1 and maybe sacrifice one of those treasure tokens.
There we go.
Nice. I think it's nice.
Yeah, that's the one that's a little bit of a stretch, I'll admit. But hey, well, that's what we do here.
The last one is Jack is very ambitious. So is BigTuck with this mechanic. We're going to do the Court of Ambition.
I literally was trying to figure out how to get one of these in here, and I couldn't do it.
So I actually have it where it works.
Okay.
Court of Ambition, 2 colorless black enchantment. When it ETBs, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If you're the monarch, instead, each opponent loses 6 life unless they discard 2 cards. So this is very much, you could either say this is Jack because he's very ambitious. You could also say that this is actually the mayor. The mayor has 2 faces.
Oh, sure.
And when he's the monarch, everyone is losing 6 life and discarding 2 cards, and it's kind of the sour face. But then when he's no longer the monarch, someone else is, it's like, hey, I'm happy. Don't hit me anymore.
Right.
Like I'm a good guy. You're losing 3 life, but hey, he's the bad guy. He has the monarch.
And correct me if I'm wrong as well. Isn't Jack the king of? Isn't he called like the king of Halloween or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So exactly. This is the throne. This is the throne they're sitting on.
Yeah. It can literally fit either side. Do you want it to be Jack, who's being ambitious? He's sitting on the throne. Do you want it to be the mayor, who's kind of being reverse faced? Yeah, you know.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm building this deck for sure. I'm gonna take. Oh, also, spoiler alert. I am planning to be at SCG Con Charlotte.
Ooh.
And I think I'm gonna take a bunch of stuff there. That's when I'm already going through my liquidation. I was trying to figure out what to do with all the spare stuff.
Sure.
That's gonna be it. So I'm gonna be on a little deck hiatus until March.
Okay.
And then it's gonna be off to the races. And this is definitely gonna be one.
Yeah, the only deck I'm building before actually it was just my next deck.
Is that what this pile is?
Optimus
yeah.
Prime.
Nice. Yeah. I was like, there's a lot of value over there right now.
Yeah, that's you know hundreds of dollars in plastic or cardboard rectangles.
Things, yeah.
So, all right, well that's gonna wrap up the Rampant Grain section, guys. Now, before we head over to our next one, we would love for you to check out our Etsy store, Etsy.com. Type CMD Tower in the search bar. It's actually been pretty exciting. You know, we've probably sold 6 or 7 sweaters here over the last month.
That's awesome.
You know, finally offloading the stuff in my basement. So if there are particular sizes you guys are looking for, you should definitely make sure you go on there because I only bought certain quantities of each and I am not buying any more.
Yeah.
But, you know, we sell our foil playmat on there. We do sell our sleeves. All that money does go back to reinvesting into the channel, whether it's paying for the actual stuff that you're getting or actually helping us invest into better technology. So if you're looking for some Magic the Gathering accoutrement, Etsy.com, CMD Tower in that search bar.
Nailed it.
Now we're going to head over to the hot profile. And BigTuck, why don't you take this one? Where do you want to start?
All right. So this is another one that I stretched a little bit.
Okay.
But if you remember correctly in the movie, there is a demon called the Harlequin demon where his head kind of comes off him and he's got a bunch of teeth.
Yep.
Right? So he's kind of a B player, right?
Okay.
Not doing a whole lot, but still integral to the Halloween feel of the town. And that's why I think that's why I'm bringing in our boy Carter Doomscourge, Kaardur. 2 colorless, green and a black red and a black for 4/3 legendary creature, Demon Berserker. So he's got the demon, right? It's right there in the title. And when he ETBs until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. So effectively goaded. Yeah. But as we found out during one of our things, it's not goad, which is super dumb. So what are you gonna do? But more importantly, whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. We're burning life like crazy through this deck, right? But we're also attacking like crazy too. So with this kind of set up, now we're going to, if someone does want to chump block, we're creating tokens or something like that, we're going to be getting our life back both ways, right?
Okay.
It's kind of.
I was this close putting this
Were
card
you
in
really?
there.
Okay.
I was so close.
He's kind of like, I think it's not. I think we throw around the term like backup commander.
Yeah.
Sometimes probably a little too loosely.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's the backup commander.
No.
He's like the backup to the backup commander.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he's a lieutenant.
Yes, correct.
So if your commander's the general, usually, well, I guess you have commander, general, lieutenant, or would it go captain, lieutenant? I don't know.
I should actually know this, considering how much I'm wearing military pants right now. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that has osmosis. So if you wear military pants, you just have all the knowledge.
It just comes right in.
But yeah, no, I like it. It's once again, I think this kind of fits what this deck wants to do.
Right.
You know, I think loosely kind of helps fit our movie theme. But I could see if you actually built this for real, this would absolutely be in the 99, especially for under a dime.
Yeah, exactly. For whatever, I mean, you can get the fancy version, the fanciest version they make for 60 cents. So, well worth it.
All right. So my first hops, it's a little bit of a mixture. So we are going to do Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Okay, sure.
And yes, we do talk about no mana only lands, but it ties to my real pick. Urborg, legendary land. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other types.
Love it.
Jack is absolutely going to say, hey, everyone gets swamps. I'm so helpful.
Right.
But he wants to go a step further. He really wants to be like, hey, everyone, you have Rakdos colors. But then Blood Moon just screws everyone over because they can't tap their non-basic lands unless they're for anything but mountains or swamps. So Blood Moon, 2 colorless red, enchantment, non-basic lands or mountains. This just screams Jack not thinking something through and being like, everyone plays basics, right? This won't hurt anyone.
Wait, so that means everything's
Rakdos.
Every single
non-basic is a Rakdos card.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, Urborg doesn't turn everything into non-basic. It just gives it the swamp edition type.
Oh,
so every non-basic land is just now a Rakdos land.
Is this a blood crypt with no drawback? I love it. I love it. And like again, it doesn't matter for us, right? This is
we're fine.
How do you feel? What do you think about Blood Moon, just in general?
I think it's fine. I think it's oppressive to people that are like myself that have optimized mana bases, but that's on me to use my responses to deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. This is great, actually. I love it. This deck is coming. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this list.
Well, what is your second hop card?
All right, so this was my pick for the Mare.
Oh, okay.
In similar regards to yours, to the Court of Ambition, because this little bastard, the bane of your existence when you played Arena during Eldraine.
Oh God, Rankle.
Yes, he can giveth and he can taketh away. Right, just depends on what face he's wearing. So, of course, Rankle, Master of Pranks, 2 colorless, double black for legendary creature Fairy Rogue. It's a 3/3 flying with haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card. Each player loses a life and draws a card. A kiss and a slap and a tickle. And then each player sacrifices a creature.
It just reminds me of this slap and tickle.
So again, like I love it because it's got the hastiness into it, right? And like you can really do the modality. I think that we're gonna have things to sacrifice that's gonna be as backbreaking to us. And I just thought this again really fit the theme of the deck of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think. Do you feel that having discard with this sort of build that we're having, I also like this sort of discard theme that we're talking about because even if we have to discard, we have all these ways to bring it back, right?
Well, I think that though becomes the balance of how much recursion are we actually going to do? Because you and I have done deck techs together where it's, we're just discard, we'll bring it back, and then you get down to the list, you're like, I don't have any recursion outside of 2 cards.
I have 2 ways to do this.
I'm really just saying I don't want a hand for the rest of the game.
What do you think about this though? Because my Angie Falconrat deck I've had for a long time.
Okay.
I'm kind of it's kind of becoming a little bit of a demon of itself.
Yeah, Angie's just boring now.
So, but
every Angie deck's the same.
I think literally, yes, I agree with that. And I'm not running the combo.
Oh yeah, then why even have it?
So honestly, I think almost every single card we talked about now, except for the new ones, is in that deck already.
Boom.
Do I just take that apart and build this?
It sounds like you can build this before March then.
Oh.
Ideas.
I'm doing it when I get back. I forgot to send you this picture, or maybe I did, of my kitchen. My living room now is just a table with piles of Magic cards on it as I just tear through decks.
Oh, that just sounds about right.
Yeah, it's how it goes. So that's my little spicy pick for the Town Mare.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with the Town Mare per se, because I don't see any tickle on here, really.
You get to draw a card.
You lose a life.
But
so
it's
it
like...
just evens out. Yeah.
People play Phyrexian Arena like crazy.
Yeah, and you wouldn't call that the town mayor.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
But no, I do think it fits this deck great, and I do like the fact that it's choose any number, which could be 0.
Correct, yeah.
So if you're real in a pickle and you just need to get some damage through,
Sure.
and you don't want to do any of these, you don't have to. So I do really like that. Versus Mishra, like you mentioned earlier, you can just choose not to attack, but if you attack, you have to do the effects.
Right. For sure.
All right. Well, my next one, I really like using tutors as reactionary type cards. And this particular big bad demon, I really felt kind of fits the Oogie Boogie Man a sliver.
A little bit? Okay.
Because Oogie Boogie was all about trying to sacrifice someone to lure Jack in.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I think as we sacrifice creatures to go lure cards into our hand, Razaketh the Foul-Blooded really fits like the big bad of the movie. I mean, he's a big bad magic card as well.
He's a big bad strong man himself.
5 colorless, black, legendary creature, demon, flying, trample, 8/8, pay 2 life, sack another creature, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So once again, from a game mechanic standpoint, it's going to help us get to our Phyrexian Dragon Engine as soon as possible, so we can start doing what we want to do. From a movie perspective, you know, Oogie Boogie is maybe losing some insects as his threading comes apart. And yeah, maybe he kills someone and he's using that to lure in Jack Skellington, which I'm doing that by luring cards to my hand. So yeah, it's a little sloppy, but you know, we'll go with it.
That's why we're here. I'm 100% in on this. Want to know the best part?
You have one.
I already got one. It's great. I have one for Oogie Boogie later that you're also going to like, which would be a really...
Stuffy doll?
No.
Thank God.
No.
I mean, that's just a little too on the nose.
No. But that might be in one of my other lists. Bum. We might have to find out. You might have to tune in next week or the week after.
Or the week after?
What? I don't know.
Right.
Love it.
What's your next hop?
All right. So this one's a big stretch. I'm gonna be real with you.
Wait. So is it like a big stretch as in like you and I stretching, or a big stretch as in stout? aka Fluff Clan, a big stretch.
His big stretch.
Okay.
You'd be proud of me. I'm actually finally taking him into a little spa day.
Oh my God.
He's got to get. I don't know how to. I have to take him to someone to get his hair out of him. He's too hairy, and I've tried.
Oh, I thought you were taking him to an actual cat spa.
No.
I was gonna be like, he's not gonna let anyone do any of that.
No, absolutely not. He's getting a little day to himself, right?
Okay.
He's getting a little haircut, get a little mani-pedi sort of action. So this is a stretch, okay?
Spencer filled us in. The movie I was trying to think of earlier, where it's all the different fairy people, Rise of the Guardians. That is the one with.
Is that live action?
No, it's animated.
Huh.
And I vaguely kind of remember watching that at some point. I remember it not being that great.
I know the name, right?
Yeah.
Like I know the name.
And I guarantee if you saw the picture, you'd be like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna try to walk you through this, right? So this is my Sally pick.
Oh, okay.
And it's Zazriel, Archduke of Avernus, one of my favorite planeswalkers. And also we're doing an Avernus theme, I guess. All right, so.
Walk me.
Sally's kind of a distant observer, right? Okay. She's confined. She's Frankenstein's monster to some extent, right? She's confined to that tower all by herself, but wants to help, right? Okay. She's giving him dead fish, right?
Yep.
Which is like kind of, maybe something that can gain some life back.
Sure.
She's helping him get those creative juices going.
Okay.
Which might be like, haste or something, you kind of get going there. And then she's the ultimate love interest, I guess. I don't know. So I just felt that
I'm getting sad trombone waiting for you.
Okay, so Zazriel does all three of those things, right?
Okay.
So she gives him the inspiration.
Okay.
With the +1, creatures can get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn.
Okay.
So we're attacking. She gives them a little, something to munch on, right? Which would be the 0, create a 1/1 devil creature token with, when this creature dies, deals 1 damage to a target.
Okay.
And then finally, the ultimate -6 of, you get an emblem with, at the end of the first combat phase on your turn, untap target creature you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. She's giving him, the final means, after she gets captured by the Oogie Boogie Man, She gives him the final rush of inspiration that he needs to figure himself out, go rescue Santa Claus, and also save Christmas and Halloween.
All right, you get sad trombone and applause. I actually don't know what to do.
I'll take it. I'll take it. So this is a stretch. This is my biggest stretch. I think.
That's a big stretch.
But I think it is a solid card in the deck.
I think because of the +1 getting haste for all your creatures, that's why it's because 4 mana haste and +1 Anthem for at least once. I mean, that could be an additional 5 power to the board.
Yeah, right.
And so, yeah.
That turns Mishra into a 4/5, so he's out of like, well, I guess I was going to say he's out of losing to a beast token, but he's
already out of a beast
straight out of the gates. So I can't think of any token that's going to beat that. But anyways, that was my last pick for my girl Sally.
All right. Well, my last one, once again, mine are fun because they fit the movie, but you guys have heard about these cards for all the days of time. We're talking Disrupt Decorum.
Love it.
Here's why. So, 2 colorless red sorcery. Go to all creatures you don't control. This is literally the chaos that happens on the planet as Jack delivers all the presents.
Right.
Literally, it's my opponents taking potential gifts I've given them, potential pain I've given them, and everyone's just attacking each other. It's people attacking people, toys attacking people. It's just fucking chaos.
There's 2 things that scared me the most in that movie when I was a kid. One was when the toys come alive and attack them. That freaked the shit out of me. Because I was like, is this gonna happen to me?
Maybe.
What's the minimum age that we need to watch this movie? 10?
I was gonna say like 7.
Really?
7 or 8. It's not that scary.
It's pretty scary.
Compared to what kids can see nowadays.
On TikTok? Can you imagine? Getting swatted? It's horrifying. I love this pick. Mostly because I love this card, and it works perfectly.
Wow, it's dropped in price.
I was just going to say, remember
50 cents?
Remember when this was like $15?
Yeah.
Was that stupid vampire precon it was in for no reason?
Well, way to go with Forgotten Realms Commander and Baldur's Gate reprinting the hell out of it.
They know they needed it. They love the goat out there. Love it. I mean, no questions asked. I'm 90% sure this is already in my Angie deck as well, so really saving some money there.
All right. Well, before we head over to our game-winning section, we would love for you guys to check out abyssproxyshop.com. And if you do decide to make a purchase, use code CMDTower. It'll get you 10% off your order for any playtest or proxies you may need. The great thing is if you actually go to our link tree, which you can just search Linktree CMD Tower, we do have a direct link to their site with the custom catalog, which is the thing I always have the most fun with.
Yeah.
Tuck, I know your card has been depleted multiple times. How big is your cart now?
Okay, I can tell you because I actually was looking this up today to make sure that it was working on my parents' laptop or my parents' Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, because you get blocked by Spectrum.
Yeah, I got it sorted out though, so we're back. So I've been shuffling some stuff around. I put in some new.
That's such a list.
That's all. I mean, it goes.
Oh my gosh!
Especially because they put in the new Triome set, right?
Oh yeah.
So that helps a lot. I am currently at $202.
How many cards, though, is that?
Oh, a lot.
It doesn't tell you, like, a total number of cards at the bottom?
No, it's at least...
I mean, that's probably at least... What?
It's a lot.
50?
Three Urbog Tomb of Yawgmoths right there.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be 50 to 70 cards.
This is like a TCG order,
yeah.
Right? Like, it kind of boils down to that. Most of the thing I really need to get out there is the proxies for the duels. Because I really am trying to take those out of my decks because I'm realizing, like, what if I forgot it here, right?
Oh, yeah. Or be like me and it just, a Sarah Sanctum disappears.
It just disappears, exactly. I want to keep those in the binder. So, yes, it is up and running on all websites, including ones that are running Spectrum, I guess.
So, just remember, abyssproxyshop.com, code CMD Tower. Now we're going to head over to that good old E section, one of my favorites. And we're going to start with, I got a twofer because they kind of do the same thing.
Okay.
So I'll start with the more simple one first, and then I'll kind of get to the more extravagant side.
Got it.
So the great thing is that these are triggers, and Stronic Resonator loves to do triggers. So 2 colorless to cast, 2 colorless tap, copy triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. You can get this card for under $2. But, really, the big scare of it all would be Tuck's favorite card, Lithoform Engine. You love it. Such a nice card.
How many times? This is getting... We need to, one of these episodes, we need to sit down and be like, these are 3 cards that we cannot talk about anymore. You already know which ones I already know which ones you're going to say to me. Descent in Avernus for sure.
Oh yeah,
That's a new one.
but it's so forgettable.
No, you're not wrong. This is definitely one on my list.
So Lithiform Engine, 4 colorless you can get it for under $3, $2.18.
Oh, it just got reprinted. Nice.
There you go. That's cheap.
Yeah,
that's cheap.
I have a hard time debating that now. This is not.
It's no longer a $20 card.
I don't feel like this is a $10 card for how I want it. This is like a $3 card, which is okay.
There we go. So legendary artifact. It has 3 effects: 2 colorless tap, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. 3 colorless tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, and then 4 colorless tap, copy target permanent spell you control. So this is literally the town making all the gifts for the world.
Right.
It's just the world doesn't want the gifts. Nobody wants them. It's like, no, I don't want you to have another counter spell on the stack. No, I don't want you to have another copy of
2 Courts of Ambition.
Yeah. And no, I don't want you to have Mishra either side triggering twice.
Right.
This embodies Halloween Town on every shape and form.
Yeah. It's all for them. They don't understand there's worlds out there.
The world's out there.
Yes, no one does. I sure as hell don't. But I do like it in this deck. Mostly, I think I would rather have this than this is the first time put it on the list. I think I would take this over Strionic.
That's fair.
In the deck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because with we're running like our tutors, we're running a lot of like big impact creatures, right?
Sure.
And I think people are I don't think Mishra's gonna be on the board long.
You don't?
I think it's too good.
Well,
right?
Mishra just doesn't do anything without a bunch of creatures.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I don't know.
It's kind of like having Grim Monolith on board. And it's like, well, it's fine until you get power artifacts.
Right, yeah. Or
it's like you kind of need your other piece.
Some way to loop it.
Yeah,
you
for
need sure.
something to make it really pop. But just by itself, it's like, okay, you got 3 mana for the 1 cast. All right, cool. Or 2.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like it. I like Lithiform in here a lot.
Sweet. All right. What is your first game winner?
So this was my Oogie Boogie because there's literally pieces of it falling off.
Okay.
That are going to fuel your attack triggers. And we got to talk our boy Grave Titan.
Oh my goodness.
For Easter. You're also going to be shocked when you see the price on this.
Wouldn't this used to be like a couple dollars?
This used to be like $20.
Oh, really?
I thought this used to be really expensive.
See, I think I only have like 2 copies.
You got 1 in the pre-con.
Yeah, and they came in the pre-con, and I think, I actually do have the Secret Lair drop. Those are the only ones I have.
Okay, cool.
So.
But for those who don't know, 4 colorless double black for a creature giant. That's a mythic. This card is awesome. It's a 6/6 with Death Touch. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2/2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So for me, this pretty much eliminates the need for Mishra to attack when you have it out, right? There's got to be someone that they're not going to be able to stop this, right? Mm-hmm. And the zombie tokens are fodder. Easy sacrifice to Rankle, easy sacrifice to our other group hug effects and all that, just different stuff. So, and you can see like on some of the old arts, it's literally bugs are falling out of them, except the bugs are zombies, and they're going to punch you right in the head. So that's why for me, like this is a pretty good slam dunk East card. I think I have like 5 or 6 copies. Jesus. So I'm sure I got one lying around.
Yeah, no, I think this fits perfect because it's one of those that you have to stack your attack triggers properly.
Yeah.
And so I like mechanics that kind of fit, but you have to know how to mechanically, explain to your opponent. And so, in this circumstance, you do Mishra's trigger on the stack first, then do Grave Titan on top, then let Grave Titan resolve, and that way Mishra gets those additional 2 tokens.
Yeah.
But I guess they aren't tapped and attacking. That kind of sucks.
But we have our hasters.
No, it doesn't matter though.
Right.
On the ETB, yes.
Yes,
but
right.
On the attack, they're always going to be hanging back being blockers.
But even when it ETBs, you still have 3 attackers now to go into.
You know what? I got it for you. It's still Oogie Boogie Man, but the zombie tokens that hang back, it's those bastard kids.
Okay, I like it. Yes,
there we go.
Exactly. The two zombie tokens and the Goblin Engineer are the little shits out there.
The little shits. All right. So my next one is, Jack thinks he's invincible.
Okay.
But there's always a cost to being invincible. He's trying to fly around the world, do all this crazy stuff. And Eldrazi Monument, I mean, you're always in the air. You're always flying. And once again, people don't want it. Like, you just don't get it. So 5 colorless. Oh, my gosh. Almost $10. Artifact, creatures you control, +1/+1, and have flying and indestructible. Beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature. If you can't, sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. So that feels very much like Halloween Town. You know, whether that is, what's her name, Susie?
Sally.
Sally.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether it's Sally, you know, giving up her arm to like go do, you know,
Yeah.
I think when she disconnects her hand and it crawls away like the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that. You know, you're always like the people of Halloween Town are sacrificing themselves to live Jack's dream of being flying and indestructible.
Yes, for sure. No, I like it. And again, it plays right in. We're going to be playing tokens, right? There's still a gazillion cards we haven't talked about in the 99.
Yep.
But I think like a token generation thing is going to be critical to get that number up for Mishra to go off.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of having like your sub theme be ETB create X tokens like your Grave Titan, like a oh my gosh, Mere Battlesphere, things like that.
Battle Ball, yeah.
And then trying to do like a Conjurer's Closet thing, where it's like I'm always trying to blink stuff, and then try to get as many of these additional tokens as possible.
And if we're looking at things like Goblin Engineer, great target to blink, right? Yep. Even if you're not getting the Dragon Engine, you're getting a Mana Rock because you need it because it's early game, right? Kardar, the Doomscourge, great target.
Oh my gosh, always goaded.
Yeah, so
or
like
not goaded.
Yeah, fake goaded. It's dumb. Like Rankle, you get to untap him, I guess. But yeah, I think that works. Like I think it's worth like I wouldn't build too far into it.
Sure.
Right? But
I would say if you had at least 10 to 12 ETB token enablers, it's like, do I want to maybe cut just a draw card spell for a closet?
For
or some other blink mechanic.
And I think it's like I think something like our big takeaway this year, or our big saying, I feel, has been like, you're rewarded just for playing the game. Yeah. Right? Like Conjurer's Closet is just, you don't need to build around it.
No.
It's just gonna let you run the game just by playing the cards that you want to do anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here for it.
All right. What's your second one?
All right, so mine's very similar to your Disrupt Decorum idea, where instead of creating peace, Jack creates havoc out in the world.
Okay.
And we were talking Havoc Festival.
Oh my god.
4 colorless, black and a red for an enchantment. Players cannot gain life, which is kind of a nombo with Mishra. But at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half their life rounded up. Jack's trying to do this all in like 3 days. He doesn't have a lot of time to run around.
Wait, is he really? No, they're doing it in like a month.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because you got to think Halloween ends, and that's when he gets depressed.
Oh, and then
he has like
around.
2 months.
But I mean, that's a lot. Santa's got a whole year. Right?
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
So they're trying.
Santa has 6x the amount of time.
Yes, exactly. So like, we don't have a lot of time for these sort of shenanigans, right? I want one Mishra trigger, or one Jack Skellington trigger, one delivery to cost you a lot.
That's
right?
fair.
We don't have time to visit all these houses. So making the game go shorter, I feel like this is a game that's not going to go long because everyone's either going to gang up on you once they've lost 10 life for 3 turns in a row, or they're just going to get you completely flummoxed. And this thing coming down at 6 mana, we got our treasure tokens. We're going to be running plenty of mana rocks to be ready to go. We talked already about the high CMC. So just getting this thing on the board is going to speed this game up so much faster.
So the only thing I'll say about it, I think it fits your Christmas theme, or the Nightmare Before Christmas perfect, because it is Havoc that he's doing.
Right.
I do think this is your 101 card.
Because you can't gain life?
And the 6 mana
for
the effect. It's one of those cards you and I have talked about where, man, that was such a good card, but has it been outclassed by just other cheaper CMC
Or you're
stuff?
like, I played the deck 6 times, I've drawn it, and I'm like, I don't even want to play this now, right?
Because it's like, I need to gain life. I've been getting smacked.
Right, yeah, I need anything else.
I think Havoc Festival, to your point, Strionic Resonator, these are cards that are sitting there to where it's like, if I literally just have a boring pick to do, like a murder, then maybe I do just do this to keep the deck fun and flavorful. But if it's one where it's like, man, I really wanted to find a spot for Skull Clamp because I got all these token generators
that are dying.
Maybe I'm cutting this for that.
I believe it.
All right. Last one for me.
Okay.
I wanted a way that we would be able to tutor something to hand, but also get our engine to the graveyard. And at the same token, I mean, let's just face it. Jack kidnapping Santa Claus and impersonating him is kind of like putting Santa Claus in the graveyard.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Final parting.
For sure.
It's perfect in here. 3 colorless, black, sorcery. Search your library for 2 cards. Put one into your hand and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle. Get it for under $1.
Right.
The other thing I love about this card is in the Magic world, very much like what actually happens in the movie, Usually this card on the stack is scary as hell.
Right,
It's
right.
like you're getting your win con and you're going to win on the spot if this resolves. Very much like, oh my god, you kidnap Santa Claus and a skeleton, the Pumpkin King's going to be Santa Claus. The whole world is effed.
Right.
But the reality of it is you're just doing this to get your Phyrexian engine into the graveyard. And the reality is Jack just wanted to be Santa Claus
Correct.
for a day.
Yeah, like
really what your intentions are is not as scary as what everyone else thinks it's going to be.
for sure.
But I think this card fits perfectly in there. And if you've already gotten your Phyrexian Dragon Engine, maybe we don't have blink mechanics, but we do want to get Eldrazi Monument in the graveyard. That, it doesn't say what types of cards. We can do anything we want, use our Goblin Engineer to be fun.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think this is like one of the first times that we've talked about where this is a tutor that's in the yeast, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to add on top of that, I think I'm going to run this and then another card for the same reason called Burning Rune Demon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 4 colorless, double black for 6/6 flyer that does the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You tutor for 2, put 1 into your hand, 1 into your graveyard. I think because we have the red stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can always discard.
Yep.
We're not talking about it, but like I'm guessing Wormcoil Engine is probably really good in this deck, or whatever the case may be,
Sure.
right? To cycle it through. Do you think that there's enough gifts, not GIFs, but gifts in this deck in the form of artifacts that running stuff like Duretti at all is good enough, or is that getting too greasy?
I think that's getting too greasy.
That's like fourth? That's like third. Or
Yeah,
fourth
unless you just build the deck to where most of your creatures are artifacts. So it's your Wormcoil Engine, your Mirror Battle Sphere, also the Trinus, the
Phyrexian Triniform.
Well, that, but no, I was thinking of the one dude. He's like a 9/9, and then when he dies, he makes the 3 things.
Yeah, like the Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah,
plus,
it's like one's a flyer, one's a trample, one's something.
Vigilance.
Yeah. So like, if all of your token generators are all these like kind of haymaker artifact type stuff, then I think it's okay to have that as your theme. But I think where I said 10 to 12 ETBs just by Conjurer's Closet, I think for Duretti and stuff like that, you probably need like 15 to 20 artifact
which is
type
like
stuff.
which is a huge sling of the creatures they're playing. So but like I mean I think that's cool because there's a lot of different ways you can build it out.
Yeah,
right? Like I think
absolutely.
that's what's such a cool commander.
All right, well, what is your final Beastie Boy?
So this is another one. That's a little bit of a stretch.
DJ Khaled.
Another one that doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's Mr. Hyde is one of the creatures in the back, right?
Okay.
I was trying to do the Wolfman. I was trying to do something else.
Okay.
And
you're like, wait, all wolves are terrible in Magic. Okay, moving on.
Unplayable. But Mr. Hyde, when he's Mr. Hyde, he's not that scary, right? He's just like a normal guy.
Shard Spark with the... This is Havoc-Ween. Havoc-Ween.
Coming in big.
Who
is Chart Spark a Discord person?
Yeah.
Who?
I think their name is Chart Spark.
In Discord?
I think.
All right, we'll get to the bottom of this after once we hang it up here. But that is amazing. The thing that I'm like, okay, so Mr. Hyde by himself, not that scary, just kind of like a doctor, right?
Sure.
But when he turns into the Dr. Jekyll, he's really gonna be scary out there. So Karlach, K-A-R, L, there you go. Karlach, Fury Avernus, another Avernus card, obviously.
So many Avernuses.
That's our 7th theme, is Avernus. 4 colorless and a red for a legendary creature, Tiefling Barbarian, that's a 5/4.
Okay.
By itself, it's not that scary, right? Whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike until end of turn. After this phase, there's additional combat phase.
Okay.
So by itself, not that bad, right?
Sure.
But when you add in your Mishras, all your tokens, all your Grave Titans, then this is going to turn directly into Mr. Hyde. Wait, no, Dr. Jekyll's a good one.
Yeah, Mr. Hyde is the
Mr. Hyde's a bad one. Yeah, so not Dr. Hyde or Mr. Jekyll.
Yep.
So again, getting our swings in. It is a Tiefling, which is kind of spooky as well, right? Half demon, half human. Just like some people would say Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are.
There we go.
And we're getting our attack triggers left, right, and center here with First Strike.
I mean, could you imagine 2 of those Mishra Doom to Phyrexia triggers?
Oh, God.
You choose 3? Oh, my God. That is filthy.
Bad news. The one thing I'm surprised in this card is so they wanted this to be a partner, right? Effectively with backgrounds. Why were they so generous with just saying when you attack? Shouldn't it be when this attacks?
Well, possibly.
Is that why it costs 5 and has no evasion?
Well, so This is from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, the new one.
The character, though, I'm assuming is from the lore of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's from Battles of Baldur's Gate,
Yeah.
so I'm going to assume it's a character in Baldur's Gate. Maybe it's not like this forward, always
Sure.
charging. Maybe it's more of a general or a captain, and it's like directing the troops type thing.
Okay,
That's
sure.
the only thing I can think of is like maybe they were trying to stay true to lore-esque.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's a great card.
yeah, it's a good one.
It's a great card.
Yeah, I like it. We need multiple combat triggers. And you know, we've kind of talked to death all the aggravated assaults of the world and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see different.
And it's great. Like I think in this deck, I want to replace all those effects with creatures because at least they're swinging in, right?
Yep, they get the triggers.
It's gonna be a 35 plus creature deck.
Yep. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap up our yeast section. Now we're gonna head over to the spice. And Tuck, why don't you start off? What's your first spice?
So I shouldn't have a festival, but here we are. And I thought this was when Jack starts stealing stuff from Christmas Town.
Okay.
The sleigh, Santa's outfit,
Yep.
so on and so forth, right? So this is going to be something where we're going to be stealing stuff from our opponents, and hopefully it'll end up good for us. So we're talking the Ruinous Powers. Brand new out of Warhammer, 2 colorless, a black and a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose an opponent at random. Exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may pay that card and spend mana as though it's mana of any color to cast it. When you cast a spell this way, its owner loses life equal to its mana value.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're hoping to get something big off it,
Yeah.
right? Like one of their big butt
Sure.
creatures. We're holding it out for as long as we want, and also stealing it away from them,
Yeah.
right? For forever.
That's very much it.
4 mana, it's a buck. I mean,
And once
this is
again,
nice.
Jack's not thinking of the consequences after, you know, months of having the sleigh stolen.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he's getting pelted by Marines.
Heavy artillery fire.
Yeah, he's not thinking of the consequences. Just like here, you're like, nobody's thinking of the consequences until you cast it.
Exactly. So,
Love it.
a little bit of spicy boy for you.
All right. So I also liked the additional combat stuff. And I thought Aki Battle Squad is an interesting
Oh.
spice. So Aki Battle Squad, 5 colorless red, creature goblin samurai, you get it for 27 cents.
Ooh.
6/6. Whenever one or more modified creatures you control attacked, and just to clarify, modified creatures are ones that are equipped, have auras you control, or counters are considered modifications. You get to untap all modified creatures you control. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. This ability only triggers once each turn. So this definitely seemed like something where the people of Halloween Town are trying to get into the Christmas spirit.
Right.
They're kind of, you know, putting on garb. You know, he's putting on the Santa outfit. They're doing these things. But it's something to where, like, not everyone participated.
Right,
Not
right.
everyone took part in it, and not everyone went out into the real world to deliver the present.
Sure, right.
So it's very loose to the movie, and it's very loose for this deck. But I feel like you're just going to have Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots. You're probably going to have some sort of counters, I would assume. The auras, not too sure about. So it's definitely one that I would put, considering the cards we've talked about, maybe 103, 104 card on the list. But once you kind of build out your list and you're like, I need one more card left, I think it's worth counting. Okay, how many equipments do I have? How many ways can I do counters? How many auras do I have? Oh my gosh, I actually have a little bit here. Maybe it is worth it to have it in the deck.
Absolutely. And it's a 6/6 for 6 too. Like, again, it's another thing where it's like, this is your aggravated assault, your seize the days, whatever.
Yep.
That's going to be able to happen over and over again. And you have to, in this deck, you have to run boots.
Yes,
Greaves, another form of protection.
Probably.
Whisper Silk, maybe.
Yeah, Whisper Silk. I was going to say like Trailblazers boots.
Oh, absolutely.
Something like that would be good. So I think there's going to be enough equipment or sleighs that you can do. I actually really tried to find vehicles to put in here for a Santa sleigh. It was hard. It was hard. Do you have any spices left? I have one more.
Go ahead.
All right. So this last one, you could say it's Sally, or you could say it's the Doctor. But I thought Chainer Nightmare Adept fits this perfectly. 2 colorless Rakdos, human minion legendary creature. You get it for 18 cents, which I'm sure you have 8 of these sitting in binders.
I do have a spare, actually.
Discard a card. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. Activate only once each turn. Whenever non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until your next turn, and this is a 3/2.
Yeah.
For the movie, this is absolutely the Professor or Sally or either one, because Sally does, I think, eventually create her own.
Correct. Yeah. And the Professor creates another Professor to make him, to let Sally kind of go.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And so, well, no, I think actually Sally's the one that helped make. Or no, you're right. Yeah, it was to replace Sally, but I actually don't think it was to let her go. I think it was just to replace her and lock her away.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
But it's one of those things, he's discarding Sally to now bring this new one back in. And you could kind of, say with the non-token creature, it's like, boom, it immediately has life.
Right.
And, it's like if the professor or the doctor had any involvement, you are now alive.
Absolutely.
And then from a game perspective, we're going to have lots of stuff in our graveyard creature-wise that we're going to want to bring back. We're obviously not going to be scared to discard cards at all. Maybe there's, even themes where it's unearthed or, the relentless, the skeleton one where it's like
reassembling
skeleton. That might be a staple in the deck. To always have discard or sack fodder and be able to bring it back. So I think Chainer, depending on how much we lean into the discard and the reanimation aspect, is a really solid one, especially because Chainer doesn't really have to do anything other than you can only do it once each turn.
Sure.
You don't have to attack. You don't have to deal damage. You don't have to, any of those types of things.
One I realize, this card is really good in Ognis.
And what?
Ognis, the haste boy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is like a slam dunk in there. I completely missed that. So, like I said, getting back, Shoulder's going to die, bring her back out of the graveyard. I think that's going to be a big part of this with the wheel effects, with the draws, with the discards and everything we have.
1,000%.
It's going to be plenty of places to go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that wraps up the episode. Thanks for making it until the end. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, whatever. It helps to let other people know that you didn't think we were big pieces of trash. And, they should come check us out a little bit. And now if you'd like to get a hold of us, here's how you can do that. You can get a hold of me at MrComboNumber5 on Twitter. I'll spell that except for 5. And my DMs are open, so you guys can just shoot me a message.
Slide on in.
BigTuck, do you have a gimmick? Or have you just been too busy for gimmicks?
I don't have a gimmick right now.
You should have made a gimmick while you're in Argentina.
I thought about it. I thought about doing like all for net posts because that's like my favorite drink now. But you can still find me at BigTuck tweeting. I think I had some response. I already told you about the Xbox one. That was cool. I think, right?
No?
What?
Wait, Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh, how they just replied to
Yeah, right. They said like we like efficient gamers. So you can still find me on there. Come and find me where you can.
You can reach our primary account at CMD Tower on Twitter as well. That's usually where you can see us going live with stuff. I definitely apologize. I have not been up to speed on that, just being busy, but I do know that we're going to work to have SD Sharpie and Marketing Ross kind of take over that Twitter account. That way, we can get that stuff a little bit more consistent communication for you. And just remember, there's a myriad of ways you can support us. Yes, that mechanic is not in here. I should have said there's a melded amount of ways to support us. You can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower, Etsy.com, CMD Tower in that beautiful search bar, and abyssproxyshop.com. Code CMD Tower when you check out. All 3 ways are ways that you can help support our channel, support the people that support us, and continue to make sure that we don't go under in a lightning ball of glory.
Oh.
So BigTuck, episode 165 in the books. Mishra, claimed by Gix with the Phyrexian Dragon Engine and melding into Mishra lost to Phyrexia. So you've said multiple times that you're going to build this deck.
Yes.
Do you feel the cards that we talked about that were Nightmare Before Christmas-esque actually fit the deck and you and I just kind of pigeonholed them to fit the movie? Or do you think we picked cards that fit the movie and pigeonholed them in the deck and they just worked out?
I think it worked. I think it's both ways, to be honest with you. Like, there's a couple ones where I think we both admit that we're like, it's a little bit of a stretch.
A little bit.
But I still think that first off, every single card that we've talked about today is going in. Right? There's no questions about that, right? And I'm
slam dunk.
Yeah, 100. This is like these are my first picks across the board, minus a couple ones here and there. But like, I think that I feel like we both put, this is the thing, this is a big takeaway for me. Like, I feel like for this month, we both put effort in, right? We both have tried to like take our time, think about some interesting cards and that sort of thing to go into it. It's been a while. Like I said, if I hadn't listened to that podcast about this movie, I haven't seen it probably 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. I'm really excited about this. Like, I think everything that we talked about so far, I was really worried that you're going to try to sneak in and alter the brood there near the end.
No.
I was like, I think that's a little too greedy, maybe.
Yeah.
But what did you think? Like, I know this is much more my kind of play style than yours, where it's very blitzkrieg, right?
So I'll say this. I think the reason you're feeling that we're putting in more effort this month is because this is kind of the first few episodes that we've done where we've done the new thing, where we're only talking about brand new legends.
Right.
And so we kind of have to put an effort because it's not like just a random deck list that we already have.
Sure.
And it's like we're just talking about something that we've played a billion times, or you just slammed together for some deck challenge in North Carolina.
Right.
These are all things where it's like, well, I haven't built this. I know no one in my play group has built it yet. I haven't even seen this deck played yet, or this commander.
Anywhere.
So I guess I just have to kind of figure it out. And so it's definitely, made it seem a lot more fun. We're definitely, we have a couple more holiday ones planned. We're going to record again on Thursday this week. That'd be the 22nd. And then we're going to do a Lost recording, to kind of fill in for the future, which will also be holiday themed. Me and Tuck just got miscommunicadoed, which that's all right. So, I think this was a lot of fun. I think the deck itself, I think it's interesting.
You admit this is me. This is like my deck to a T, is it not?
Yes. I don't know if I would have a ton of fun playing it, because I feel like to lean into what the deck wants to do, I would have to get away from some of the foundation of the deck. Like I probably wouldn't be able to have a bunch of mana rocks.
Right.
Probably, like a lot, because I always feel like Rakdos is expensive to play CMC wise, but I feel like this deck, you don't want a lot of slots wasted on CMC.
Yeah, right.
You want to use it to do what the deck wants. But the thing that I do enjoy about it is that there's this card in the 99 that I have to get. And so I like the puzzle of like, okay, how do I get to a tutor or get to a final parting or just burn through my deck as quick as possible to get to it. But then there's even this other kind of interesting aspect where I got to make sure no one plays Graveyard Hate. I got to combat against that. A Rest in Peace destroys the deck.
Yeah, how do you beat that?
You can't. You have to blow up the Rest in Peace.
Yeah, which is like what, one effect in these? Or like, you have to run Chaos Warp, the new one that's double red.
And then the black one. Colorless black.
Something Swarm.
Yeah, Feed the Swarm.
Yeah.
You have to do that. You may even have to do the Scour from Existence.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's just like one Rest in Peace, and then you mill your Phyrexian Dragon Engine, you're effed.
Oh, that's brutal.
Done.
Yeah.
So I like that there's this Achilles heel of the deck, but can also just be Achilles himself, where he's just smacking face.
I'm gonna fuck you up, future Bruce Banner.
Absolutely. So I love all of that, and with that, I think we're out of here. See ya.
See you Thursday.
Big dance.
Big dancing. Still dancing.
Still dancing. Get hot.
Target lost.